All right, welcome to our basketball season here at Texas State. I'm extremely excited this season. I think the high of last year kind of wore off for me during the summer because we obviously have a lot of new student athletes that are coming in. We have 4 freshmen and a junior college transfer, but really and truly, if you look at the 12 women that are currently on the team, only 2 of them play substantial minutes. You know, we played a 7-person rotation last year, and so out of a 7-person rotation with only 2 of them having substantial minutes, it means we've got a lot of teaching to do, some adjustments that we need to make, and honestly, we have kind of a fresh look as far as where some of our scoring is going to be coming from as well. But I'm really excited. You know, we start off right away. It's really exciting opportunity to be invited to the preseason WNIT for our program. It's a reward for the success that we've had. And so we start off on the road right away at the Pit, which is an awesome venue. I don't know how many people have been there, but I'm really excited. I've been there as a student athlete before, and I can't tell you how exciting that is to play in the Pit. So to start off right away against New Mexico is going to be a great test. Very similar teams, evenly matched in the fact that they also have quite a few players that have exited their program as well. So they're a little bit tough to scout from the standpoint of knowing what we're going to face. And then from there, depending on how you match up, we have 3 games that we could potentially play, if not more, if we continue to advance in that tournament. So I'm excited about that. In addition to the excitement, obviously being picked 3rd was exciting for our program. Again, that's just a nod of respect coming from your colleagues saying, hey, you know what, you guys have really done a great job. I appreciate that because, you know, for quite some time we're always picked kind of middle of the pack. But really and truly, as we all know, these preseason picks of any nature are really just the resume of what you've done in the past. And right now we have to continue to work right now pretty tough, pretty hard on the hardwood. If you take a look at the preseason all-conference players, it makes sense, right? Tasha is a returning Sun Belt Conference player as far as leading in scoring and then a few other categories, and obviously nationally she's a heck of a 3-point shooter as well. And then Brooke Hawley in her own right has really worked so hard, where she went from her freshman year not playing at all to being a legitimate starter, somebody that you can't just ignore in a scouting report, so that she also made preseason awards I'm really excited about as well. I will tell you I have some other players that I'm excited about to see how, you know, things shake out for us once we get rolling in conference play, to see if they're going to be able to garner some of the same kind of respect that Brooke Hawley has been able to earn over time. You know, as we move forward, one of the areas I think for sure that we're going to look to in scoring is going to come from an inside game. Last time we had an inside game, if y'all can remember, some of you guys have been here, this side of the room has been here a little bit more than this side. We had Ashley Eze, who was an all-conference player. We have a young freshman right now. I can't tell you whether or not she's going to be that kid for us, you know, in this season, but truly she is an unstoppable force. I'm really excited. We'll be able to roll her out some. Once she gets used to what we do, we're going to have a real inside presence, which will really help balance out our game quite a bit, so there isn't as much of a focal point on our guard play. So for me, that's really exciting as we continue to practice and watch some of the things we're able to do. We haven't done it since the Ashley Eze, you know, era where we had Ashley Eze and Diamond Ford. So I'm excited. In addition to that, as you can see, you know, I've never gone soft with scheduling. We start off obviously tough right away with the preseason WNIT, but we're going to a tournament at Tulane. That tournament in its own right is going to be pretty tough, where we're playing some top competition. And then obviously once we're done with that tournament come Christmas time, we go ahead and hit our conference schedule. And of course, we're always going to play UTSA. And I look for that to be honestly a contentious game at their place. I would be lying if I didn't tell you that we went in that game, and of course I'm planning to win, but I didn't think that we were going to put it on them like that. So my expectation is that they're going to remember that game, and when we go into there, that's going to be a really fun environment. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of our fans come to that game to help support these young women. But overall right now, you know, we're 21, 22 practices in. We have a handful more practices that we need to kind of knock out. We have another scrimmage that's coming up against another Division I school. We had one a week ago. We did pretty well. I'm really excited to see this next team. I think they're going to test us so we can prepare ourselves to go on the road to start off in the Pit, which is going to be a tough game. I'm sorry I spoke really, really fast. Normally I don't, but I can slow down.
One thing that all programs, every team has to learn how to do. One thing that all teams have to do, every program has to do, is to learn how to prepare, learn how to practice, learn how to win. And while I know you have, like you said, new faces on this team, how important is it to have a core membership of this team, along with the coaches and the fans and everybody else who have experienced so much winning as the team did a year ago?
You know, that's a great question that you asked. I always start out with recruiting. I think any time that you're able to recruit, when you recruit kids who may not have big stat numbers, but they know the work that it takes to win a state championship, to maybe be MVP, that's important in the recruiting culture. It's not that you're going to sign a bunch of kids that went to state, but just understanding winning and what that means is really important. So we start out pretty early in recruiting within this program to recruit young women like that. And now I think the one thing that will resonate if you ask Brooke Hawley or you ask Tasha Levitt, like what resonates most with them is kind of unfinished business and what that means and what that looks like. And, I've lectured the team a couple times trying to explain to them, you still don't truly have an understanding until you play how tough it is to win, until you're actually in that arena. So we need to go even harder, because right now they're giving us all they got, but they haven't had the opportunity to experience what that really means in a playing contest. And until that happens, I really don't think you really truly know, outside of listening to the upperclassmen who've kind of faced those adversities. I think the one thing that I can tell you, though, about this particular team is they are very similar to last year's team, a lot of fun to coach, but they also are more observant in the way they approach the game than they are gregarious. Last year's group, they come in and I tell people all the time, they were the party. We're ready to roll. This group, they're more thoughtful in what they see, how they think, they absorb it, and then they kind of give you a response. Sometimes, I want it faster, but ultimately they still give us what we need, and I really appreciate that about this year's group.
Coach, you mentioned working the ball into the post, something that you haven't been able to do to the same level you did once upon a time with Ashley Ise. Who is that individual you were referencing earlier?
Oh, Jada Reed, a young woman from Oklahoma. She is unstoppable. I love to tell the story of when I went to watch her play. She literally had two girls. She's about my height, big kid. She literally had two girls hanging on her arm and still was able to finish. And we have the luxury of having a male scout team, so we're going up against college young men, and she's scoring on these guys left and right. And it's not like they go easy on her. They're not just standing behind her. She truly has amazing hands, wonderful touch, and so obviously we're excited as a coaching staff to try to get her up to speed with everything that we do. I think she gives us that. And then we have a JUCO All-American as well, that second-team JUCO All-American that we signed, actually from the same school that Peacock is from. And I think JJ is going to actually provide a lot of the athleticism that Erica May had, but as well as being able to finish, in the low block.
And who runs the point on this year's team?
That is yet to be determined. That is yet to be determined right now. We've Bailey Hawley's done a great job, and Kennedy Taylor, who's come in as a freshman, she's done a great job for us as well. I'm sure Tasha wants that role, but I'm going to kind of float her in between that 1 and 2 spot, depending on how Bailey and Kennedy are playing. But right now, those two are really fighting for the opportunity to start, but they both more than likely have an opportunity to play for us.
Coach, with the exits and the additions to your roster, every team kind of evolves over the course of the season, but do you have maybe an idea of the strength of this team as you start out?
The strength of our team from an offensive standpoint is similar to the past. We're pretty good in transition offense. It's something that we do really well. I really do not like to put clamps on my kids regarding taking shots. Once we teach them what a good shot is for you and who you are, it's really important that you have the confidence to take that shot. So I'd tell you for sure offensively, just being able to run in transition. We obviously have the #1 shooter in the country, so shooting is a big piece of it. We've signed some kids that can shoot as well. At all positions, we have a true stretch 4, a kid by the name of Denasia Hood that's from San Antonio, can really shoot the ball with the best of them. So I'm excited about that. We have the ability to shoot the 3. So that hasn't changed as far as our identity. And then defensively, our hope is to increase our ability to be able to rebound. And signing, J.J. Johns is huge for us because she's a great rebounder. We have a kid coming off an ACL who was the top rebounder in the country in Region 5, JUCO region, when she was eligible and she was here at Texas State. So my hope is that defensively we're going to be able to add into our 1-2 ranking with the rebounding.
Coach, you had 3 starters that left. A lot of scoring there, especially at Taylor Deere. Who do you expect to step up and add to scoring with Tasha?
It's interesting you ask that, Kev. I'm thinking through how the season played out. Generally, Tasha would get the #1 defender on their team. And then Taylor would have the secondary defender, if that makes sense, because there are times Tasha was getting beat up off screens or just really physical and aggressive. And then Taylor would have another kid who was pretty tough on her, and Brooke wasn't necessarily the player that had the toughest defender on her all the time. So she got her shots a little bit easier. This year, it's going to be interesting because Brooke is going to have a pretty good defender on her. Obviously, Tasha's going to have some pretty good defense guarding her as well. I'm curious to see what's going to happen kind of with that three-guard role potentially at times, what's going to happen at that position, but for sure in the post. I'm telling you right now, we've got scoring in the low block this year that we haven't had before. By far, I really feel like Erica May was the best defender that we've ever had here. She just offensively wasn't a kid that they had to worry about. You're worried more about her wreaking havoc defensively. This time it's going to be a little bit different. We have legitimate scorers in the low block, and so we're going to get some scoring from that core group period, whether it is the young freshman or whether it's our junior college player. We're going to get scoring from the low block, and so that's where we're kind of quote unquote make up those points when the guards have pretty tough defense on them.
Can the bigs run?
For the most part, yes. For the most part, we still are going to be able to get up and down the floor. That's a part of helping this young freshman from Oklahoma kind of get into that, pace of the game mode.
That's what I was going to ask too about the pace. Are you worried? Were you ever worried about the pace of this team?
No, we've generally recruited kids that can get up and down the floor. I think the difference is now we have a kid who is a lot more like an Ashley Eze. Tempo is something that we're trying to teach. I'm not expecting her to be, lightning fast. I'm just expecting her to understand that, when we push, and that you need to be a big piece of that as well. There might be times, depending on what's going on with foul situation, the type of teams we're facing, we might have to slow it down some just to give her some opportunities. And honestly, from our end, from a defensive strategy standpoint, we might need to as well. That will be something that we're going to have to make adjustments for sure.
Coach, what are some of the improvements that we can expect from Tasha this season?
The improvements you can expect from Tasha is, and this is an improvement we've talked a lot about, is just being a great teammate, letting some things kind of roll off your back. There are going to be times that she is just getting knocked all over the place and just taking a deep breath and just saying, okay, this is something I've expected. This is something that we faced in practice. So we're pretty tough on her in practice. We call it really tight. We get some pretty aggressive defenders on her to kind of get her going in practice so she can continuously work on how to make the adjustment when people are really just, really beating you up when you're one of the best players out there and the #1 shooter in the country. So that's one area of improvement that we're working on. I think another area of improvement for sure that you're probably going to see out of Tasha is just her go. I think her motor's working a little bit faster now than it has. She was just talking about, well, that player was a freshman, coach. Like by the time you get to a senior, you kind of understand what it means, how hard to go. So I think you're going to see that as well. And the other piece of it I think that you're going to see is she's going to be more of an emotional leader in a positive way for our team. Especially, when her big girls are getting rebounds. I notice she's just excited because she notices the fact that we have an inside game. She's never had that in her career. I've noticed even within practice. I mean, she's one of the first ones high-fiving them, giving them love, letting them know, hey, I appreciate that. And of course she is, right? That makes her life easier. They're setting screens for her. They're getting rebounds. They're scoring. It takes a lot of pressure off her. So she's being a great teammate for sure that way.
Do you feel like the presence of an inside game will help open up even more shots outside for her?
It will. You're going to have to make a choice, really. You're going to either have to make a choice. If we do a good job executing our offense, you have to make a choice. You're either going to guard Tasha or you're going to guard the inside game because you're not going to be able to have both if we execute. And so we've already recognized that in practice. Tasha will garner so much attention even in a practice setting with our scout guys that it's left a lot of wide open layups.
With your focus on defense, has that been a challenge with a lot of new players, or is that identity come pretty easy so far?
It's always a challenge. Defense is tough. Coach Casper can tell you that. That's a big pillar of what he does. Teaching kids to play hard for 30 seconds at a time can be really tough. It sounds easy, but it's not. Sitting in a stance, staying active, understanding rotations when there are, some game slippage. Defense is tough. To me, it's the toughest thing to teach. Putting the ball in the hole is something that you can recruit, but teaching defense is a little bit different. You need to have some grit and some toughness to you.
Hey, Coach Z, so I had a quick question. So have your 5 newcomers, have they been able to adjust well to Tasha and Brooks' leadership in practice?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, some of them are, we have Brooke and Bailey. They do a great job from a leadership standpoint. The JUCO transfer that's come in, she's pretty tough. And I would say the emotional leader overall right now is Xandra Emanuel, who you guys just haven't had to see. She tore ACL at Arkansas State. She was a kid that was leading rebounder in the country in Region 5, which is a tough region here in JUCO region in Texas. And so I think for sure she is probably that emotional senior leader that's able to really get them going. And they do have an understanding that, like, when she says go, like, she means go because she works so hard and she cares so much about the program. She's another young woman who had the opportunity to graduate, but she's going to stay and continue to be a Bobcat because she wants to play and really help this program. And man, I love kids like that. I don't know how many of you guys remember Kaylin Martin. She's now Dr. Kaylin Martin, but she stayed on. She didn't have to stay on at Texas State, but she stayed on and started the MBA and then left and went to the PT program. Anytime you have student athletes, Erin Peoples is another one, right? Erin Peoples, she tore her ACL. She also already had finished, but when you have student athletes that are dedicated to your program and dedicated to the vision that you have and at Texas State, it's really awesome to see them stay when so many kids are transferring as graduate transfers or just saying, I'm done. She's a kid for sure that I'm really excited about.
Coach, you went through the schedule earlier. How challenging is it when you consider the fact that the bulk of your non-conference games are on the road? You only have 3 scheduled games at Strain Arena before Sunbelt play begins.
I'll be honest with you, Brand, I don't really look into home versus away because the majority of our teams, when I first got here, we were more of a home team, but the majority of teams we've had in the past, it didn't really seem to matter as far as where we played. The culture of our program has always been just if there's a ball on a court, we're ready to go. And so I've just really enjoyed that. I don't know if it's something, we don't focus on that. We don't talk a lot about, home or away. Of course, we talk about defending our home court. But I've never really put any more thought into it that, hey, I want to play some great games and kind of see where we are before we hit Sunbelt Conference. And, we have to face, the team that's been the toughest for us has always been the Arkansas. Those have been teams that are tough, and just making sure that we're in place to beat the top of the conference has been really important. So scheduling was important. So whether we're home or away was really indifferent to me. It's just great competition.
Coach, you mentioned Strand Arena a moment ago. 2 questions. Do you miss the wall? And what do you think about the renovations?
I absolutely love the renovations. I don't know how many of you guys have been able to go to the court. That'd be a great question to ask Tasha. I'm not going to lie, Tasha doesn't even know this. I checked the stats to see how she shot, in different venues. It didn't really matter. She shot well regardless of where we are. There's a lot of analytics now in our game, so I'll pay attention to our opponents as well as our current players. Some players are better shooting at home, some are better shooting away. And so I was wondering with depth perception with the wall, what would that mean? It really hasn't changed her shot whatsoever. And Brooks as well, since we've played, actually, I can't share too much about the close scrimmage, but she was a leading scorer, and she blistered that team shooting the ball. And so I know coaching so many great shooters over time, sometimes it does make a difference, but now, with the depth perception with the wall being down, but I think for them it's just more fun to see more fans in the stands, having that, Castro area where we have a true club area is going to be a lot of fun. To know that we have something very similar to the suites here for football is going to be really fun and exciting. The court is absolutely beautiful. It's been really exciting to see, and we're still not done yet. They're really enjoying the new locker rooms that we have, and we're continuously adding to that as well. I can't say enough about the UEC. I'm really, really excited about it. And no, I don't miss the wall. Someone just sent some pictures. They had some action shots of me in a game. And then I was like, why is that wall there? As a matter of fact, now that we don't have the wall, I'm like, oh, let's not use that picture. It's like we need to get on this court here soon to get some new pictures.
We talked a little bit about last year, the difference, you see Brooke and Bailey and they're twins, so everyone assumes they have the same game, they play the same style, but that's not the case with them. And you kind of talked a little bit about it last year with me. Could you do that again? Just kind of tell me the difference in their games, like one between Brooke and Bailey.
Very different, and I think one of the reasons why I especially was excited about the twins is because I have twins, same gender twins, and I think it's really important that there is a difference and you understand the difference between the two. Brooke is more of that, let's just get it done. I don't care. She is a no-nonsense kind of player. You're going to do it because I'm going hard, and that's just, it's the way she plays when you see it. She comes off as just really physical. She steps on the floor and she commands a bit of a presence, the same thing in the practice setting. Bailey is different. She is more cerebral. She is more of, I don't want to say mother hen, but she's really going to do a better job of communicating and saying, hey, we're doing it because of this. She still goes just as hard, but her approach is very different. And you recognize that even with small things like the way they dress. But definitely from a communication standpoint, Brooke is like, you're going hard because kind of that old school kind of kid, like, we're going hard because I'm going hard and this is how we're going to win, versus Bailey's like, you're going to go hard because I'm going hard, but recognize when you go hard, look what happens. Oh, that was great. High five. Like, she's just honestly more of a point guard, and that's why she plays that position. She has the ability to float between the one and the two because she is a kid who clearly understands and sees things happen. She's just a phenomenal facilitator and communicator, whereas Brooke is more about, like, she's pretty, like, bottom line type athlete, for sure. Which makes her a great rebounder. I mean, it's a mentality. Like, that mentality, she just, right in her. Very good compliment. Like most twins, they play well when they play together. It's just not something that happens often. But for sure, they're a really good compliment. And I think our team kind of has fun when they kind of get on each other every now and then. There might be a miscommunication on defense. It's fun having siblings on the team that way because you get to see them in a different light. But for the most part, those young women get along phenomenally.
Well, I know you've been talking about the fact that this team has a lot of really, really tough players, and that's going to be necessary because what more needs to be done is my question on how to get this team physically and mentally ready for the fact that now the Bobcats come into this season with a lot of hype surrounding their program because of what y'all were able to do last year.
I think understanding that this is a new team, period. So regardless, you have to put in the work to prove yourself. I think they do understand that. What's not understood is actually playing in the games. So I really won't have a good idea where we are mentally until we play. And I can tell you that close scrimmage really was refreshing to see, because I went into it not necessarily knowing how are we going to react to adversity, what happens, when we hit it, what does it look like, what do those conversations look like, and they responded really well. And so that's why I'm even more excited for the next opportunity that we have, because a very similar situation happened last year for us where we went in and we did really well, and that next scrimmage we didn't do as well. So just giving them those opportunities to play in real situations before we actually have to play in that game on the road is going to be really important for this team. I'm not putting anything at all into last year's program. I really have moved on. This year to me is really different. It's very different, y'all. I mean, we only have 2 players that are returning that really played. I can tell you my expectation is to tighten up the roster again. It might be at 8 players versus 7 to start out because we have so many new faces. But my expectation is we're going to have a group that's going to be kind of helping drive the bus for this program versus doing what I've done in past years. As our program's matured, so have I, and I think that's been best for our program.
Tasha, I know Coach just mentioned how the team is trying to put last season behind y'all because it's time for this season. But that being said, during the off season, have you caught yourself thinking back to last season at all? And if so, what are your memories of last season?
I mean, I still think about the last game, like in the tournament against Arkansas, all the time, because it's just like, it was just 1 point, so I always think of like something we could have done better to get the ring. And I always think about like the team, how I've played with, because I played with all those seniors like ever since I've been here. So this is my first year not playing with them, so it's different, like adjusting and stuff in practices. So I think about it all the time still.
Has it fueled you, like in your off-season workouts, the memory of that game against?
Oh, yes, it has.
So you were named to first team preseason. How do you plan to carry that through the season? Like, is that just another thing you put on the mantle and you should forget about it, or is that something that's going to like stay with you as we go into the season?
I mean, like, I'm glad I got it and stuff, but it's not something that I'm just thinking about, like, wow, I got first team. So, like during the season, I just want to, play hard every day, compete every day, and hopefully when postseason comes, I get the same thing.
Obviously, we know that you're pretty good at shooting the ball, but what other areas of your offensive arsenal are you looking to fine-tune heading into your senior season in order to best serve your team, especially if you're going to be switching between point guard and shooting guard like Coach C's going to have you?
I need to, just be a better leader for the team. Always make sure the team's in the right offense. Always make sure we're always on the same cue, and just be better at getting more assists and stuff. Because last year, I shot the ball pretty much every time I got it. So I need to pass the ball more. Look to get my other teammates open.
Tasha, as a shooter, how much are you enjoying this era of basketball? No longer is a 25-foot shot a bad shot anymore these days, especially for somebody like yourself. How much are you enjoying being a part of this, new revolution of basketball?
I mean, I do like it because, like you said, I could shoot it from deep, and it's not going to really be an issue. So I like that.
Coach was alluding to the tougher presence in the paint this year, a little more scoring coming from the paint. As a shooter, are you looking forward to that? And is that something you've also seen in practice and in the early scrimmages so far?
Yeah, I mean, like she said, I've noticed more that I can feed the post more. I always last year and the year before, we didn't we fed the post, but this year it's something that's always on our mind more. We're always being reminded to feed the post because we do have post play. We have post players that can score, and if they get double teamed, then they kick out to the shooters and stuff. So.
Tasha, I know right now the focus is practice, getting ready for the season, and that first opponent on November 9th. But I also know that you and your teammates have looked at the entire schedule. So as you've looked at the entire schedule, what are your thoughts before you embark on this journey?
I mean, we do have a really tough schedule. We're playing Mizzou, we're playing Oklahoma State. and they're all there at their place. So they're all going to be tough games, but I think it's good that Coach challenges us to get us ready for conference so we can be prepared.
Coach Z touched on this a while ago, but how do you like shooting in the renovated building, and what do you think of the total renovations?
I mean, I like shooting in it. I think the gym is very nice, especially compared to like what it was. Yeah. Oh yeah, the new locker room is great. We all love it. Like we hang out there like between classes and stuff, and we really like the chairs because we had like stools last year, and now we got like rolly chairs. So
that wasn't the case last season. Y'all wouldn't hang out in the locker room because it was.
not really. I mean, sometimes, but not really.
Hey, Tasha, in terms of preparation, how ready would you say these newcomers are in the upcoming season?
I mean, we're getting there. Like Coach said, they don't really know what to expect. They don't know like how hard the competition is going to be, how fast-paced the game is going to be. But every day in practice, we like compete. Coach pushes us to make sure we're running down the floor, getting in shape. So I think we're going to be ready.
Okay. Well, what adjustments do you personally expect to be facing now that when opposing teams look on the scouting report and they see Tasha Levitt, they're going to think the offense is going to be mainly predicated on containing you? What adjustments do you feel like you need to personally make to be prepared as a number one option completely?
I mean, I just have to I just need to worry about not forcing shots, just let the game come to me, make sure to cut hard off my screens, make sure to be a facilitator as well. I need to work on other parts of my game so they can't just guard the three and stuff.
Some of the players that you've seen that you think will have a bigger role this season?
So first off, Bailey, I think she's stepped up a lot. I think she's proven that, she's going to hustle for the team no matter what. She's going to play hard for the team no matter what. And also KT, she has proved that I feel like she's proved that she is going to play hard for the team as well, and she's going to be a big help for us this year.
Last year, you and Taylor were on the same page almost every single play. This year, during the offseason, you and Brooke got on the same page, like more of like a two-person team kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me and her, we've talked a lot about how we have to step up for the team this year because we are going to be the two main scorers probably. And we always, we try to get in the gym together at least once a week or twice a week and shoot just extra to try to get the chemistry better for us like it was for me and Taylor.
Tasha, Grant and I, we've made the comment in years past that when you make a couple of threes, we know that you're going to make two more after that. You're that kind of shooter. When you're in that zone where you're putting the ball up and you have 3, 4, 5 straight threes go in a row, what's that like? Because I don't know what that's like.
I mean, it's a great feeling. It's the best feeling to me, but I don't know. It's just if I shoot it, I really just kind of know it's going to go in sometimes. You could just, if you making a couple shots, you just kind of know, you're in rhythm, so just keep shooting.
Now that you're heading into your senior year, what objectives are you trying to achieve in order to help carry this team and finish the business that y'all were so close to getting done last year? And as a follow-up, what are you learning about yourself now that, as a senior, as a leader, what you need to do to bring cohesiveness to this team, both on the court and off the court?
I just got to, like Coach said, I got to work on being a better teammate because sometimes I just get a little distracted and a little too into it. So I got to calm down sometimes. But I feel like if I just am a good leader for the team, that everything's going to work out. And I've never really had to be, I've had to be a leader, but I've never really had this kind of role before. So a lot more pressure's on me to lead the team than before.